Welcome everyone. They have an Arknights Endfield patch 1.0 preparation tier list. In this particular tier list, I have categorized the characters in different tiers, which I'll try to explain as we go through the videos, as the reasons behind it, and also with additional information in terms of categorizing the characters and together with the team composition, special effects, and also how those synergies can work well in different teams. The goal for this tier list for Endfield is so that we can understand what are the characters great at, what can they excel in multiple endgame content, and also how well we can use those characters for more free-to-play style. So this tier list is aimed to cover both the top meta teams and also what are the characters that can work well with those characters in a more free-to-play style. So coming over to this tier list, what you can see is the top of the tier list are S-rank characters, and I have purposely made only a few selected characters as the top S-rank characters, and those are the two limited banner characters with Liberty and also Get Better. So briefly coming over to the notes as to the reasons behind those two characters, Liberty is going to be a well-rounded fire elemental DPS or main DPS character that excels in massive amount of AoE damage. In fact, she is probably one of the best AoE DPS damage dealer in the game, and from what I've researched and had a look with the beta content, she excels in all of the endgame content, and this makes her very universal and very good for any team. At the same time, Get Better will be one of the characters that can be available at the start of the game as a 50-50 off banner coming with the Liberty banner. If you guys are not sure how this actually works, we do have a gacha raid and also gacha system guide together with a video to explain this, and together with the previous video which we talk about the summaries of the live stream that was just casted. So those two videos should give you guys a better understanding of how Get Better is available in the limited banner before her banner is available. Now she is purposely made to be the third banner character at the end of the patch 1.0 patch. So there's a less chance of us getting her, but she does have a lot of flexibility. Being a natural character, she also has the ability to use natural spells in combination into corrosion, which reduces enemies' defense. Now during this time, I'd like to come over to this particular simple guide, which will have a look at the combination of using natural inflictions and also abilities to trigger corrosion, which will allow us to reduce the resistance of the enemies of all of the elements, which amplifies the damage our team deals. It's quite important to understand this, and those are some of the main reasons behind those characters in the tier list. So the character Get Better scales very well with Art's intensity, and she is great for AoE controlling enemies, and also she can provide a solid healing against groups of enemies. I wanted to spend a little more time in the top tier of the characters because those are likely the characters you want to summon for or the characters you want to build a team around. So Liberty is going to be our main DPS character. She excels very well with a fire or fire support synergy team, while Get Better can work in any teams as a supporting damage amplification character. Now during this time, I also do want to come over to some additional information which will help us to understand how the tier list is crafted. A lot of characters may be taking one or multiple roles. Most of the characters we want to focus and also invest in the early game or the start of the launch may be a main DPS character. To follow from that, there's a number of supporting roles a character can take, including the SP battery, including the damage amplification, including healing, and also an enabler that debuff enemies or provide you with high elemental stacks. So for those, if you guys are not sure, there's also videos and also guides that's related to those. I'll have those available for you guys. There's also guard or defending characters that provide a shield or healing for your team for more defensive gameplay. So understanding characters can take different roles, I would say Liberty is one of the best DPS characters that is well-rounded for the fire team. And here Get Better is going to be one of the best supporting characters that can apply corrosion quite consistently with her natural inflictions. So because those two characters pretty much serves the best role in the carry meta, you can form a fire team around Liberty, or you can form a natural team, or you can form any team around Get Better, and that can still work. In that sense, I have a number of characters that is in the S- tier. So let me try to explain why those characters are a little lower, but they're still one of the top meta characters and some of the very powerful characters. Now, Yvonne is gonna be one of the limited banner character. The reason I ranked her a little lowly is not because that she's not good, but rather she is more of a situational based character. She is by far the highest single target damage character that it will be available in patch 1.0. She is one of the best boss slayer character which can excel in a lot of content. The drawback for her is that her lack of AoE clear, and this can be compensated somewhat with her team and also supporting characters, but in comparison with Leviathan, she does have a shortfall in terms of AoE clear. So that is the reason that she is put in S- tier. Similarly, we also have a DPS damage dealer with Last Rite. Last Rite is more accessible to the players because she is one of the standard banner characters. She does have a very high scaling and she's also a cryo DPS character. So she and also Yvonne is kind of contesting as your main DPS character, but there's also potential to use her and also Yvonne on the same team for a cryo or ice team together. Now that we had a look at the DPS, in terms of Last Rite, because she is contesting the position of DPS characters with Yvonne, while Yvonne really excels in single target DPS, so Last Rite, I wouldn't say she is way better than Yvonne, but she does excel in a high stats scaling, and also she can work in the Yvonne teams, so that gives her some benefits. So in that sense, you can have both of them on the same team, or you can just focus on one of the cryo DPS that can work really well. Last Rite, on the other hand, do want you to have a lot of potential to freeze enemies, and she can consume those debuffs for higher damage. So this is one of the reasons that she's not in the S tier, but she's in the S- tier as a very capable meta DPS character for the Ice or Cryo team. In terms of a more generalized, in terms of one of the best healing supporting characters, here we have Adula. I cannot pronounce those names. So Adula over here is going to be a free 6-star character that also comes with her own free 6-star weapon. And in terms of healing, she's by far the strongest healer in the game. She also provides us with some damage amplification. And if we look at her stats and also her kit, it is considered that she is one of the best healers and have the flexibility to provide damage amplification for any of the teams. She's definitely one of the meta supporting characters, whether you're running a cryo team with Yvonne or Last Rite, or she can work wonderfully well with Leviathan or even supporting Get Better. So she's very flexible, provides some damage amplification, and she can provide a basic level of corrosion as well. So she is well-rounded healer that is also free for everyone, hence her higher ranking in terms of the tier list. And finally, my S- rank will consist of Ember. Now, Ember is a unique character that is also one of the 6-star defender characters that is the only 6-star defender characters in the game. Ember over here can provide us with shield and also healing for the team, and she can be extremely tanky, especially for beginning players. As players experience and also learn the mechanics of the game, it is much better to be sustainable, to be tanky, and also to start to learn the mechanics of also how the game works. So being tanky and also being kind of unkillable once you build her correctly will be one of the benefits for Ember for sure. And her gameplay style is more defensive, but she does offer some offensive capacities as she takes more damage. One of the downsides for her is currently she excels in physical teams and also vulnerability teams that gives your team more physical damage, but the downside is we don't have a top meta physical team yet. So that sense, compared to the meta fire team or the meta cryo team or even the electric team, the physical team are not here as the top meta, but Ember can work very well if you want to run her as your unkillable tank and even character that does all the exploration. Now, in terms of the A tier teams, you can see there's going to be a mixture of the 4-star characters, 5-star characters, and also 6-star characters, and also the end administrator. So let's briefly have a look at those characters. Over here, we have a winner. A winner over here is going to be an electric DPS character. Now, in terms of AoE damage and also single target damage, she does fall short a little bit compared to the limited banner characters, which are 6-star, which is expected. But this electric character, who is 5-star, has the capacity of getting more duplications as you summon for more characters, and her electric damage is quite sizable for a free-to-play team. We'll briefly talk about how she can work with other electric characters as supporting characters to do pretty much all the content, in-game contents that's available in the game. But in terms of main DPS, she's definitely one of the best free-to-play DPS if you don't have the premium DPS on the top of the tier list. To follow up on this, we have Arknights. Oh gosh, I cannot pronounce this name. One of our viewers called him PogChamp. Let's call him PogChamp. So PogChamp over here is gonna be one of the only 6-star Vanguard character. He does have a very good animation during the trailers and also teasers, and he has quite a few interesting abilities. So PogChamp, I don't know why I'm calling it PogChamp. PogChamp over here has some really good potential to be one of the SP batteries. He excels in physical teams and can provide increasing the foe's damage, the enemy's damage taken. It is a well-rounded character, and the situational part is that we are looking for a very strong DPS physical character, and then the Vanguard characters, the SP battery, and also the physical supporting characters will become even stronger. So hence the reason that he's in the A tier instead of the S- or S tier, because we're looking for the golden physical DPS character that will be coming in the future, of course. Now in terms of the rest of the two characters, we have Akiri, and here we have Antel. So those two characters, even though they are 4-star characters, they are considered to be some of the best supporting characters for their role. So let's briefly have a look at the notes we have for those two characters. Here, Akiri over here is a very flexible SP battery. She can also provide damage amplification for the team for 10% attack. It is a bit low compared to the other amplifications, but the ideal setup for her is to run her in Levertin's fire supporting team as a way to apply some fire debuffs, and also as a way for her to be the free-to-play character for any team that should you need a flexible battery or should you need some minimum damage amplification. So she's one of the well-rounded character that can pretty much fit in any team as a free-to-play character. At the same time, Antel here is one of the best pure damage amplifier. So the amplifier's goal is to provide your team with more damage, whether in the form of enemies' increased damage taken or provide your character with higher damage. For him, he is one of the meta supporting characters for Levertin, even though he doesn't heal like the other support that can do multiple things, but he excels in providing you with higher damage. And as you know, in the game, usually you either want to be unkillable, but there may be time limits to events, and having the higher damage and also excel in amplifying the highest or the strongest characters you have can be a great way in terms of clearing out most of the content, because usually there's a damage check meter. Now, after we talk about those two 4-stars, we also have Shahai and also End Administrator. So Shahai is going to be a 5-star character, and Administrator will be available to the players, and this can be one of your, free-to-play damage dealers in the game before you find some of the premium characters. So, and I do apologize for not pronouncing the name correctly. It's a Shahai. Shahai over here is a 5-star amplifier. Her ability to fit herself in the Ice and also Nature team is very good, and she is considered one of the best supporting characters for the Cryo Ice team. So Ice also means Cryo. So over here, Shahai can easily fit with a team for Last Ride, and she can definitely fit well with a team with Yvonne. And those are some of the meta Cryo teams that can be available and can be very powerful for most of the content. Her ability to fit herself in a natural team means that she could also go with Get Better over here, and this means that she has a lot of flexibility, and then her ability to heal is also very welcome for the team. Now we do want to note that her ability to increase damage for the team also comes with her overhealing. This is when the team have over maximal health and she still heals the team. But she does very consistent overheal, so that means that she can amplify the damage for multiple elemental teams, but also heal the team and also even provide damage amplification once you overheal. Now in terms of the End Administrator over here, I would say that this is one of the characters that you use, and you can continue to use this character as you progress through the story. This character, I guess, an administrator excels in combining with other premium 6-star characters, and this can be in the form of Get Better, this can be in the form of any of the 6-star characters that you want to add to the team. An administrator does decent single target damage and also AoE damage, and is definitely one of the free-to-play unit that is easily available to the players. But in terms of excelling in a particular area, one of the other characters may be a little better at a higher tier list. So, we're going to go a little faster in terms of the rest of the B tier, C tier, and also D tier characters. And if you guys want to read a little more, we do have the notes related to those characters. Here, as for Arknight, this is going to be a character that provides us with SP recovery, focus on the electric teams, and Arknight, I do want to give her a little more time, Arknight can have the potential to scale with intelligence, and once we get over 600 intelligence, this can scale about 50% or 60% more damage for the electric team. Notice that Arknight is also a 5-star character, so this kind of fits well if you can fit her and also our winger over here as a 6-star DPS character and also a 6-star damage support and also the SP battery over here for electric team, which is a very decent team in the early stage or even end stage of the game. Now, we also have Lengthening over here. Maybe a little easier to have a look at the notes over here. So in terms of the B tier characters, Lengthening here is an enabler. This provides us with more vulnerability debuffs and also physical susceptibility to increase the enemy's physical damage taken. The downside is we don't have a strong meta team for the physical teams yet, but any of the other 6-star physical characters you see over here, someone like Ember can also enjoy the bonus physical damage. The other two B tier characters are pretty much specifically designed to support a particular elemental team. Wolfguard can go up in ranking to certain tier lists, and a lot of the other tier lists I had a look had higher ranking for Wolfguard, because Wolfguard, it really excels in a meta support for the Liberating team. Wolfguard can provide the team with a lot of fire stacks that can provide Liberating with a much needed damage bonus, and also Wolfguard can grant the team with fire bonuses once you trigger the ability with combustion. So briefly have a look at how this is triggered. So heat, as in terms of combustion, so combustion is one of the ways. So let's come over here. So an enemy with combustion takes heat damage over time. So combination for combustion is not heat infliction plus heat infliction equals combustion. And Wolfguard can detonate those heat combustions and dealing additional damage and provide the team with bonus fire damage. So in that sense, after getting your Liberating and also after getting her Amplifier and after getting her Healer, Wolfguard may be the perfect last spot for Liberating. I ranked him a little lower because if you're not running Liberating and don't have a great fire DPS, he's not going to excel in most of the other teams. And similarly, we have Policia, right? Hopefully I pronounced correctly. She is running a similar role to Wolfguard, but she works well in the electric stacking or electric team. She is one of the best ones for the free-to-play electric team, and you can see that we can have her with Arknight and also have her with have her with the electric DPS character, and that is definitely one of the highlights. Oh, I also forgot to do the character tag for Sunshine, the Snowshine over here. So Snowshine over here is gonna be our defending character that is also a cryo character. A lot of the tier lists have ranked her quite highly because her ability to provide stable healing and also shield for the supporting cryo characters like Yvonne and also Last Rite. And in that sense, Yvonne is quite stationary when she does her ultimate and also her abilities, so Snowshine can provide her with a freeze defensive capacities for Yvonne. So if you're looking at supporting team for Liberating, Wolfguard definitely goes higher. If you're looking at supporting team for the cryo team, Snowshine goes higher. And if you're looking at a supporting team for electric team, then Policia goes higher. But notice that those characters really excels in that element, but they don't work that well with other characters, not that universal. Now, as for the rest of the characters, I don't think I think the C tier and also D tier are pretty self-explanatory. They are situational in the sense that they require certain team that is not meta, or there's other character that can do a similar role but a little better. So it's better that we avoid characters in the D tier or C tier unless you have a lot of spare resource in the early stage of the game. In terms of Elish, he can execute with his ultimate for enemies under 50% HP and to deal massive damage, but that's more situational. In terms of Chen Qingyu, over here, she's an enabler that provides a lot of the vulnerability, which can amplify physical damage. In terms of Elish, he can also provide us with corrosion coming from nature, and he also works quite well in the last right team. Now, finally, for the D tiers. Dampen or the Panda here is a great comboing character that if you enjoy comboing and also enjoy the style of the gameplay, this can work great in terms of AoE clearing the enemy. But End Administrator does do a better job compared to the Panda, and usually you'll be running a few of the premium, top tier, A tier, and also B tier or S tier characters, so the position is kind of very contested. And finally, with Estella and also Catcher over here, they all serve their roles quite nicely, and they are also easily accessible to the players as a 4-star character, but they are easily replaced and they are lacking the need to get invested heavily in the early stage of the game. And even though, here we have a physical defender, but he is definitely weaker than Ember. And here we have Estella over here, but you really need to run a physical and also ice team to get her to excel in those situations. But usually we'll run those damage dealers and also run the supporting characters, amplification characters in the top of the tier list. So I know the tier list took a little longer. I kind of want to break down each characters as I understand them, as I done the research and also see how they play, how they fare. And I think in the future videos, I will try to have a tier list of the characters that's associated to a team. For example, we might have number of teams for variety. There will be some premium teams with all 6 stars or 5 star of the top tier and some of the free-to-play 4-star characters. And this will give you guys a better understanding if we look at the character tier list first, then we look into the character team tier list after. So let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about my tier list of those characters? And of course, I'm open to feedbacks. I'm sure you guys will have a different understanding of those characters. Maybe you'll be saying the B tier characters is definitely like S- tier for the supporting roles that they provide for the elemental team. So let me know, and I'd love to learn from you guys as well for those tier lists. Now, before I finish, I also provided you guys with some additional links in terms of understanding the status effect, in terms of understanding the elemental combos, and in terms of understanding gadget system or the live stream. Those links will be available should you guys want to have a look. And as we have more information of the meta and also the tier list, during the testing of the launch, I will also provide you guys with updated tier list and also updated team build tier list in the future as well. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering everything related to Arknights Endfields, relating to the builds, the characters, and also ways of getting promo codes and additional freebies, explorations related to the game. So make sure you subscribe for the latest update and also news related to the game, and also more updates for new patches to come in the future.